After coming off a 4-game win streak, the wall has been hit, and the Bears have dropped a rough game, to say the least, to the Baltimore Ravens and backup quarterback Tyler Snoop Huntley in week number 8. Wow. Rough one.
Yeah.
Welcome on into the Bear Report podcast. I'm Steven Johnson. He's Zach Pearson. Zach, 30-16. The Ravens showing that, hey, they might not have Lamar Jackson, even though everything was pointing to Lamar Jackson returning on Sunday. But they go with the Temu-style Lamar, and the Bears, I think, are still waiting for the game to start because things just never really started for them.
Dude, I think the Bears actually just committed another penalty. So we should add that. That's now 12 on the game. Yeah, no, man, it was, once that news, that weird, funky news of Lamar being the full participant, then it got walked back, and then he was out. And like Ian Rappaport had that weird tweet of like he was with the practice squad, and Kyle Hamilton alluded to something like that. And I know the head coaches are always looking for a competitive advantage. And, I disagree with it because I just think you still have to go out there and line up and play because the Bears were preparing for Lamar Jackson anyway. So it's like, what advantage did the Ravens have hiding that? So,
right.
But yeah, no, man, Tyler Snoop Huntley, 2-0 against the Bears in his career now. He did it again. And credit to him. I mean, he was just on the practice squad. He came out, he played a good game. It felt like everything was simplified for him. It's simple throws. He made plays when he needed to. We're not going to discredit him at all. It feels just like a big, big letdown for the Bears after that Week 8 game.
It definitely does, and we'll get into the stats here. But off the top, and some of the news coming out of the Monday, the hangover day, as we will call it, from that loss. Not so great news, as if there wasn't enough not so great news on the injury front for the Bears. Second round rookie defensive tackle Shamar Turner out for the season with an ACL tear. Not ideal, especially given that defensive line, just defense in general, between Kyler Gordon going back on the IR and other difficulties to just get healthy bodies, now down another man. However, Tyler Booker back coming
Austin
off
Booker.
of Austin Booker coming back off of IR. He is activated, so he will hopefully be back and at him next week here for the Bears against the Cincinnati Bengals, who are somehow coming off an even worse loss than the Bears are, giving the Jets their first victory of the season. But nevertheless, again, it just seems like the Bears are just unable to catch a break, specifically to the defensive side of the ball, and being able to just put guys out there who were expected to be, first string, high-performing players.
I mean, not only that, I mean, you're down your top 3 cornerbacks. Like, you had no Jalen Johnson, who's still on IR. Tyreek Stevenson was hurt. Kyler Gordon's now on IR. And then you look in the first play of the game, and on the kickoff, Dominic Robinson's hurt with a high ankle sprain, doesn't return. Ben Johnson said he's going to miss some time now, a couple weeks. And for a defensive line that the pass rush has just been lacking, 3 total pressures. You have Dio getting a 0% win rate. Honestly, Grady Jarrett and Gervon Dexter played the best on that defensive line, if we're being honest, and Andrew Billings stopping the run. But, nothing really from Montez Sweat. I think he had that one play where he got pressure. But, yeah, now they're short on bodies. Shamar Turner was playing defensive tackle, defensive end. You get Austin Booker back, but, where's this production going to come from? Are we going to rely on Austin Booker's preseason performance or what? I mean, I hope he can come out and make an impact, but yeah, their defensive line, man, and their defense in general is now starting to kind of wear down and face that injury bug. And I don't know what it is with this team and soft tissue injuries and hamstring and all that. Like, it's just crazy to me. I feel like they lead the league in soft tissue injuries in like the last 4 to 5 years.
I tell you, it almost makes you wonder if the Bears are gonna be looking for a new training staff come, this offseason just because of those injuries and those issues like you mentioned, especially with the fact that the Bears have built a world-class facility to manage going through all of these things, that you're following through on, making sure that you have your body in best shape possible for games, and it doesn't add up, and maybe it's just, drafting guys who have a bit of an injury streak to them, which we know has been a thing, and something that, you need to be, I guess, a little bit more cognizant of,
Yeah.
where you're going through that talent evaluation, which, talent evaluation in itself is something that, uh, very critical, Bears Nation has been of Ryan
Oh,
Poles and the front
two.
office.
They drafted two players. Colson Loveland was dealing with a shoulder injury, and I
Yep.
believe Shamar Turner had, would he have an ankle or something? He had something, didn't he,
Yeah.
coming out of college? Yeah.
Yeah. And so again, more issues, more frustration. It makes you wonder. It truly makes you wonder, what that process is, and if there needs to be something looked at that says, okay, maybe that's not the way we go about things here. And obviously, there's certain times that it is tough luck. You know, Kevin White, a perfect example. Going back to that draft pick, Ryan Pace's first, really didn't have any injury history, and then all of a sudden breaks his leg, and that's pretty much it for his career. So you take the good with the bad, and hope that you can figure out that aspect of things. It's just frustrating when it does happen, but
Yeah.
tying back into this game, and obviously one of the things that was looming large, I think midweek, seeing that Kyler Gordon going back on IR after starting the week full practice. I'm still
Yeah.
trying to understand what's going on, that all of a sudden he goes from, all right, let's go practice, get ready for the Ravens to, nope, see you in 5 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, injury in practice, and that's the only thing. Same, what, Braxton Jones, same thing. So yeah, they're hurting at left tackle too now. Like, who goes in at left tackle if Theo Benedict goes down? And like, who do you turn? I mean, because let's be real. I mean, we'll get more into this game. Theo Benedict has not been great.
No.
You know what I mean? He's really struggled in the 2 games he's started. So yeah, I don't know, man. This game, just leading into it, all the bad news, and then they come out and they have a really good opening drive, despite it, you know, ending with a field goal. And that's one of the things that Ben Johnson talked about during the week. He talked about red zone, having to be efficient in the red zone starts with the passing game. He talked about discipline and fundamentals at practice. And both those were essentially two of the biggest reasons why they lost this game. They started off nice to that drive. They get the field goal. They force either a 3-and-out or a short drive. They get the ball back. They get down to 22, have to settle for another field goal. And after that, the wheels just kind of fell off. And it's like I said, it's a tough loss. It's a loss that's a frustrating loss because you're 4-2. You have a chance to beat a team that, is pretty much trying to save their season and has been one of the worst defenses over the past couple of weeks. Now, they did get Roquan back. They got Kyle Hamilton back. They're starting to get healthy. It's a home game. All right. But, now you're staring at a Bengals defense that's just as bad, probably even worse. And what are you going to do with that? We'll get into that later. But, yeah, it was just bad game overall, man. I mean, we could talk about a lot. I mean, there's a lot of things that went wrong.
Yeah, I think that for what it is, let's just go over the top numbers to start. I think that's kind of where we need to go, and we could take this and pick your own adventure, because
Yeah.
there's several different ways we could go into this. Total yards, Bears did have the edge there, 372 to 355. Both teams with 6 yards per play, passing 276 yards to 178 for the Ravens. Rushing 96 yards to 177 for the Ravens. Again, you mentioned the penalties, 11 of 79 yards for the Bears, 6 penalties for 45 yards for Baltimore. And then
let's start with the penalties.
okay, let's do that.
Let's do that.
That's a good place to start.
Because I had something to say on these penalties.
Okay.
All right. 9.1 penalties per game, 31st in the NFL. The only team worse are the Jaguars at 9.3. They've had 63 total penalties on the season. And I think I actually just put it down, but they have 64 total penalties. And it's the same mistakes we're seeing over and over and over again. It's the same stuff that was alarming in training camp, and then alarming in the preseason, and then alarming in week 1, and then alarming in week 4. And now we're in week 8, and it's the same stuff. And, I pulled up the numbers, 64 penalties, 533 yards. Of those 64, 26 have been pre-snap penalties. That is awful.
They have to be leading the league in pre-snaps.
Yeah, if not, they're second or third at the minimum. And it's all around. I mean, it's everyone on the offensive line. Like that Joe Thuney false start, to me, I don't know. I think the Ravens were smart by tapping his helmet and standing up and literally getting the ref's attention. The ref did not see him full start at all. You know what I mean? Like if you go back and watch that, he barely moves his head. And that's a veteran that you have to give him the benefit of the doubt. And the Ravens tried doing it again at the final drive. They stood there and it confused everything. And and I don't know why the Bears just didn't snap it. They were offside. So, it's pre-snap penalties. It's penalties like this that change games. And we went back to week 1. Darnell Wright has, a false start or a holding call that pushes back a long field goal attempt. Okay.
Yep.
Cairo Santos misses a field goal in the third quarter. The Bears lose. That was they go up a couple scores with that field goal. Before the first half here, Caleb Williams, intentional grounding, lose it down, and you lose yards. Now they get into field goal range. Cairo Santos misses it. We'll talk about that. Later on in the second half, the Bears punt. Torrey Taylor pins him down at the 1-yard line. Probably his best punt by far the season, probably his career up there. They get down there, they cover it, an illegal formation. How are you lining up illegally on a punt? I just don't understand this. I don't understand this.
To be perfectly honest, I had never heard of that dude before that call.
Yeah, DeMarco Jackson.
Yeah. I'm like, who the hell is DeMarco Jackson?
But he's playing special. I mean, he plays special teams. It's like
probably not anymore after that.
Yeah, and guess what happened the next play? Torrey Taylor has a
bad punt.
Terrible punt, and the Ravens essentially gain 23 yards. The Joe Thuney play backs him up. It's only 2 yards, but instead of the 5, they're at now the 3, and then the next play a run and then an interception. So, the penalties are they're in key spots. They're in spots that are costing them yards, costing them points. I feel like, again, the little push off by DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, that's just crazy. I don't know. I understand how you don't call that offensive pass interference.
I mean, the face mask was there, and I think we can even get into the helmet to helmet as well.
Yeah. Oh, the helmet to helmet too.
It's not just the Bears. And I know that there are a lot of instances over the last several weeks where we can point to a lot of really ticky-tack fouls or non-calls that should have been calls. But we're seeing it everywhere. And we're seeing it with all these teams. I mean, they're the blatant, last night on the Sunday Night Football game, a blatant offsides that the Packers committed that was not called. And Aaron Rodgers sitting there, where's the flag? Where's the flag?
Micah Parsons stopped. The play stopped. He stopped.
Right.
Did you see that? He stood there. And not to cut you off, but it's not even about the Pack. Watch any the tush push fumble. I'm still I don't understand how you blow that play dead. But it's to me, I was talking to a buddy of mine last night, and we both agreed. If you watch an NFL game, turn into 3 different NFL games any Sunday at any time, flip back and forth. The rules are never consistent for anything. And I know everyone likes to say, the Chiefs get the benefit of the calls, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. But the rules just are not the same. They're not consistent at all. You could watch Colston Loveland push off on whoever it was on Washington, get called for an OPI. You could turn on a game the next week and you see, Tucker Kraft do it. You see DeAndre Hopkins just do it. You see all these players do it. It's a product that we keep watching it, but man, like a lot of these are just bad calls. It's not only with the Bears get away with some bad calls too. Like everyone, it happens. Everyone, it's not the reason why they lost games. It's just the ones we see, obviously.
Well, that and it further raises the argument for there being full-time referees in the National Football League. And right now there are not. These are part-time guys having other professions
Yeah.
that are doing day-to-day work, getting referees that are diving into how to officiate, understanding the ins and outs of everything. Like that needs to be something. And it's frustrating that in today's day and age for it to be such like the social media focus on officiating right now is under such an intense microscope. And it is kind of mind-blowing that the league just doesn't seem to really put an emphasis
No.
on the fact that it is a problem. And it is a problem. It
Yeah.
truly is a
And
problem.
they'll tweet out highlights of that
Right.
play too. Like they're just
Exactly.
so I don't understand it. Yeah, like I said, it's not the reason why the Bears lost, but these penalties. I mean, it is the reason why the Bears lost. Their own fault. It's not like the ref blew 10 penalty. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
they're losing games because of these penalties now. You look at moving forward. Ben Johnson called out his team. He literally called out the players and we have to fix this. And it's not the first time he's done this. He brought up these penalties in stopping drills in training camp, in calling players out. He brought that up on purpose in the preseason and in training camp, and now he's doing it again. If they don't fix these penalties, man, this season is going to go just like last year did. You cannot sustain this because they've been having penalty issues even when they win. They're masked by 3 takeaways, 4 takeaways. They're still having, 100-yard gain by Swift masks a lot of these penalties. So that's number one for me. You got to fix the penalties.
Yeah, I think between the penalties and like you had mentioned, just talking about the red zone and everything that goes into that. I mean, on those red zone opportunities today, they were 1 of 3 on scoring a touchdown in red zone opportunities. They held the Ravens to 3 of 6, which means 6 red zone opportunities. Ain't great that your defense is allowing that, but at the same time, early on in the game when they started marching down the field, that first possession, things looked like they were just well-oiled, ready to rock. Obviously, the scripting of the first 15 to 20 plays playing a little bit into that because once they got past that, didn't look all too great, that's for sure. As you saw the yards gained in the first quarter versus the yards gained in quarters 2 and 3. And then even at the end of the game as well, not being able to punch in a touchdown. And I think there's a lot of people that are back and forth on that last throw to DJ Moore. And looking at the all-22, just quickly mentioning, I mean, DJ stopped in his tracks. I think that there was a just clear miscommunication there.
Not the first time there's communication between them two either.
And that's the frustrating thing is like it just feels like, again, to your point, it's all the same things that we've been talking about time and time again. And for Ben Johnson to call out the players, good. They need that. Somebody needs to hold them accountable. It's not kumbaya. It's not this big powwow. It is get your act together. You are professionals playing a professional game at the highest level. Act like it. And right now, the Bears, in several instances of that, don't. They just don't. They suck.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Well, and going back to the quarterback play, I think that's another thing we should probably touch on too.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good game for Caleb Williams. I don't think it was awful by any means where, you're having panic or you have to say, well, he's definitely a bust. But this is, for me personally, this is a game where you got no turnovers for the defense. The rushing attack was non-existent for a little bit, and in my eyes, I don't think Ben Johnson had a great game either because he went away from that run. They were running the ball really well in those first 2 drives.
Yep.
So that didn't help them. But this is, to me, felt like a game. You're a number 1 overall pick. You have a lot of talent. We know you have a lot of talent. We've seen it. We need you to go win a football game. I got to see that so far. I think Dallas, he was a big reason why they won that football game. You got to give him credit. But other than that, I don't know many games you could say he went out and won you a football game just yet. Now, again, sky's not falling. I'm not out on him at all by any means. I watched a little bit of the game again today, looked at some of the different camera angles and stuff. It wasn't as bad as I first thought, but it also wasn't very good. Like, I do think there are good things that came out of it. Taking a check down when he needed to. There's a play. I actually just pulled it up. It's Matt Waldman who put it out that Roquan Smith came through clean. Caleb Williams read it, hit the check down, and I believe it was Monungai got picked up some yards. No, Swift or Moore. No, DJ Moore, and picked up some yards. But then you look at the interception and you're looking, Caleb saying, yeah, he had Rome man to man, and it was a good read for him. Ben Johnson saying, there's probably a better option out there on that play. And then you look, and if he just goes through his 1 or 2 more progressions, he's got Kyle Monungai wide open the flat for an easy first down. So it's those things that, like, there's just inconsistency right now. And he's making throws. Like, opening up the game, he made some really damn good throws. He made a throw to Roma Dunze on that 3rd down where he bought time and kept the drive alive. He did it later in the game, a pass that Roma Dunze should catch diving to the ground. But then again, you're missing some easy throws. You missed the throw to DJ. I don't know. Honestly, DJ stopped. And it looks like the linebacker was in the way. It's a funky play all around. I don't know. But I will say this. I'm pretty sure Caleb Williams was in on the quarterback sneak, and I have no idea why they don't not review those plays.
A little frustrating, to say the least. The thing that gets me more often than not is there always just seems to be one speed on Caleb's throws, and there needs to be the finesse that we see him move out of the pocket with the same on the touch of his throws.
Yeah.
And I think that would solve a lot of these issues where he's just bulleting passes to guys, overthrowing them, throwing at their feet, doing things where, if he's, again, it's not necessarily a matter of throwing into tight windows either. It's just there's a part of the game that just doesn't seem like it has slowed down enough for him to make a difference in those 3, 4, 5 bad throws that he continues to have game after game, where I think if you asked him, he'd want all of them back, knowing that they are very easy to make throws. And it's funny to go back today and even listening to Ben Johnson on his performance for Caleb Williams, saying he played better this game than I think he had the previous 2, which is shocking to me, honestly, that he would go out there and say that, saying when you look at it all 60 minutes, I'm not saying it's perfect. I actually came away from watching the tape this morning encouraged that we took a step in the right direction here this week. I know for some people it's hard to maybe rationalize because the results weren't there, but I saw tangible growth from him. He's working his ass off. So he's saying that on ESPN 1000 this morning with Carmen and Jerko. And I kind of get what he's saying, that it's, 285 yards. I mean, it's nothing to scoff at. But at the same time, when the one turnover on both teams is in a crucial, deep in your own zone blunder that should not have been made, that's hard to overlook. Again, these throws that are hard to overlook that he's frankly just missing simple, and to the point of the number of open receivers. And again, a progressions game, just not having the game slowed down enough for him. I don't know what it is, but it's frustrating. And I kind of wish we saw more pressing on what made this week better than the last two specifically.
Well,
Because saying yet you looked at it as a whole, that's great. Yeah, he had more yards. But what was it specifically that he did that put this team in a position to win the game? Because twice they failed to score a touchdown in the red zone when they were knocking on the door. And again, several times where drives stalled because he was not able to get his offense over that hump.
yeah, I mean, all we can do is just trust Ben Johnson, right? Like, he knows a lot more football than we do, right? Obviously. But, like, for me, it's how is Ben looking at this? Because Ben wasn't here last year. And I'm sure Ben watched some of that tape from last year and said, what the hell was this offense in general doing? So I look at it from that view where I think Ben Johnson is taking, like, this is not Caleb's rookie year, but we're going to grade this and view this as his first year with me, a big learning year. Let's see him make progress as the year goes on. I think we got to that Dallas game. You're like, okay, there's some progress made. And then you have, the game against New Orleans, the game against Washington. Now this game where you're like, well, all right, where's the progress from that? That's just kind of how I think Ben is viewing this. And I think Ben knows, like, yeah, this is not going to be fixed in 3, 4, 5 weeks. But to the fans, to be fair, like, there's no patience because of how bad the quarterbacks have been in Chicago. And now you have this quote unquote generational guy in Chicago. And he's the number one pick and there's weapons. We want to see the results right away. And that's fair for the fans. So I don't know. I'm not a quarterback expert, so I don't know what Ben Johnson saw. I'm sure he'll get more into it, excuse me, on Wednesday when they talk and he meets with Caleb again and then they go over it. But we got to, I think the bottom line is, I think you'd agree with this. Like, we got to see progression being made these next couple weeks. Like, starting with the Bengals, this is one of the worst pass defense. This is one of the worst defenses in football. There's no excuse not to put up 24 plus points.
And we said the same thing about the Ravens. Like, that's the problem.
But this is worse. This is the worst defense.
I get that, and it's just so frustrating. It's like, why? Like,
well,
we talked about this stretch facing 3 of the 5 worst defenses in the NFL, and this was the first game the Bears failed to eclipse 21 points. It just doesn't make sense. Like, that's the frustrating part, is there was, like, it just makes me more frustrated thinking about the fact that Ben felt that way looking at the tape, because it just did not feel that way. It still doesn't feel that way.
No,
I've had 24 hours to just let this sit, and it still doesn't feel great.
Well, look, they had no takeaways. Getting those takeaways masked a lot of non-good football that was being like the Saints game. Like, they got the ball a couple times in the Saints territory through the turnovers. They got points. You know what I mean? Like, so when those takeaways aren't there, you need your quarterback, you need your offense to go out you and go win some games, not settle for, 3 field goals that they had. So yeah, I mean, but if they lay an egg this week, I think you're fully in the boat of, oh boy, something's not right. And is this going to be able to get right? Like, and I don't even have to see 6 touchdowns, like a couple touchdown passes, limit the turnovers, put up 24, 25 points and win the damn game. And you might be going up against Jake Browning too, because Joe Flacco's reportedly hurt. So,
well, and Trey Hendrickson left the game with a hip injury. So again, you're missing key components that make that offense and defense do anything. Yeah, which isn't much right now, but it's significant.
Yeah,
it's very significant.
And you lose this game, and you're in deep trouble. And you have to look at Jamar Chase. He had 17 targets on Sunday again. So I mean, there's your offense. Literally, there is their offense, Jamar Chase. So yeah, I mean, what other storyline? I think the field goal kicking is kind of an issue here. Um, Missed a 58 yarder, short by a couple of yards. I don't know, man. I don't know if they're gonna make a move, but
Did the Bears make a mistake not putting Jake Moody as their kicker?
I don't think. Well, let's see. What I looked at this earlier today. I don't think Jake Moody is even like better at long field goals. I know
But
Carlos Santos is not good. I know he's not good at long
I
field
I
goals.
I feel as though, yeah, I from a long career long standpoint, I think you're right.
He
But
was 4 of 9 from 50 yards last year.
not great.
Yeah, and
Not great.
two of 3 the year before. This year he has not attempted a 50 yarder. So you're under 50%. So I don't even know if it's a Jake Moody solution. And I know a lot of people want to run to that, but like I get it. Like Cairo does not have the leg strength to go 58, but he's been pretty accurate under 55 for you.
Yeah.
But
So I mean, Jake Moody's career long is 57. And that was in 2023 when he went 21 of 25 on field goals, 2 of 3 from 50 plus. I mean, this is only his third year in the league, which is
yeah,
crazy to think that it's been that short of a time frame. But you know, I don't know. I get the reliability aspect, but it is really demoralizing to see a kick, and I know it was rushed, but to see a kick that short when there are a lot of teams, the majority of teams out there that are able to put a guy out there with a leg that can hit that and then some. It's a bit of a gut punch, but I think we all knew what Cairo Santos was, especially last year with all the field goal, drama that occurred
yeah.
in late in games. But it to an extent, it's like, what do you do? I mean, you gave this guy a bunch of money. It's a weird situation. I know that there were a lot of people, especially after yesterday, like, what are we doing? Why is this a thing? And I don't know. It's frustrating.
Well,
It is frustrating.
did you see this stat from Nicholas Mariano? Have you seen this stat?
Do I
There's
want do
no
I want to
way.
hear about it? I don't know.
I had to double check it. I could not believe this was a real stat. Since
Oh dear.
1948, the Bears have only had 2 field goals over 55 yards, both by Robbie Gould.
Say that
2011,
again.
since 1948, the Bears have only had 2 field goals over 55 yards that were good. They've only made 2 field goals over 55 yards since 1948.
What?
Yeah, I thought there was no way that was true. I thought there was no chance. I thought Eddie Pinheiro against the Broncos was 53. Yeah.
Paul Ettinger never.
Nope. Cairo Santos had one 57 in the preseason, but does not count. Right? 57 in the
Kevin Butler
campaign.
never did. Wow.
Yeah. And then meanwhile, against Arizona, you have the Green Bay Packers just grabbing a kicker off the street and he drains what, a 60-yarder with ease.
Yeah,
61 maybe.
the franchise record.
Might have probably good from 65. Then you have, I was watching that Dallas game and they had Aubrey's target line almost to midfield
Brandon
in
Aubrey is a
Denver.
weapon, and oh jeez.
But I mean, and it's not only just Santos missing that field goal. We talked, it was poor special teams all around. The Ravens averaged 30.8 yards per kick return in that game. 30.8. So at minimum, they're starting at the 30. At minimum, every drive.
That is
A lot of bad, man. A lot of bad.
Yeah. It just I try and wrap my mind around the fact that there are so many things just over the years that make you think, and I know it's been talked about, like where the Bears are as a franchise for long-term success, and that they are among the Browns and the Jets of the world more than they are the Packers, the Steelers of the world. And
Yeah.
it's just so infuriating for a city that can be so engrossed with football and to just see the struggle and the product year after year, and you're hearing these things and you're just like, what needs to be done, like what happened?
Yeah.
It's frustrating. Like the whole thing is frustrating, and it's wild because I was in Philadelphia this weekend. We were at Eagles Giants, and I have never, ever, and I know they just won the Super Bowl, so there's going to be a little bit more out there in terms of like the fandom. I have never seen so many people today flying back home today in a team's gear than I have in the city of Philadelphia with Eagles gear on. It was nuts. I'm like, that's what the Bears need, because that's what Chicago would be, and that's what Chicago deserves. But we get a taste, and then it's just right back to the cellar.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. This was deflating. And the crazy thing is you and I both had this as a loss when we did our season predictions. I'm guessing we both had this as a loss because we thought Lamar was going to play. So, and knowing the circumstances and knowing the Bears should have won a game like this, it's tough. But on to Cincinnati, man. On to Cincinnati, as Bill Belichick would like to say. And it feels like if you want to be a playoff team, it's a must win. It's a must win for the morale too. Like you have players in this locker room who saw the 4-2 start last year and it go all downhill, and now
can't have it happen again.
No, you cannot.
Cannot. And I tell you, I'm hopeful. Like you mentioned, Joe Flacco dealing with injury, Trey Hendrickson dealing with injury. You still have to worry about Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, especially if you're going to be, down at corner, which the Bears will be once again this week, which is going to be the main struggle there. But again, opportunity exists for this team to win this football game, and they just have to act on it. And I think it's pretty clear, obviously, what they need to work on between the pre-snaps and closing in on those opportunities in the red zone. But it just, if it is another week of the same mistakes on Sunday afternoon, it is going to be really, really difficult to try and get over that.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So, it'd be very, very tough.
Never a dull moment with the Bears and just putting us through the same anguish week after week. But, that's why we're fans, I guess, or something to that nature. But another road game on Sunday, noon, in Cincinnati. Paycor Stadium, I believe, is the name of the spot for the Bengals now. So nice noon game on CBS, and then welcoming the Giants to Soldier Field after that. The Cam Scattaboulis New York Giants that look like they have a few less teeth than they did a week ago there. So again, a stretch that the Bears should be able to take advantage of. Got to get it. It's sitting at 4-3. Got to get to 5-3. Got to make sure that the past does not repeat itself in terms of the history of where this team has gone. But we'll see what they end up doing. But that is going to do it for this episode of the Bear Report podcast. We'll talk Bears and Bengals later this week and recap everything here next week following the Sunday afternoon showdown. So for Zach Pearson, I'm Steven Johnson. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. And we'll talk to you next week right here on the Bear Report podcast. Take care.